Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces. Well, guys, I've had an interesting sort of Monday. Somewhat planned interesting, but it got a little bit more interesting than I had planned. I think I was telling you guys yesterday how we're having our floors in the one room, the one back room, redone. And originally we had somebody else that was doing the upstairs and everything like that ended up like drywalling our upstairs and putting the new windows upstairs and like things like that. We had him like planned on having him do the back bedroom and you know, sanding the floors, because he did a small patchwork job that was in there. There was a little bit of water damage from like it was weird when they redid the roof when we first moved into the house. They never ended up redoing the one side of like the sloped roof, because that side is the dormered outside of like, so it's actually a flat, like it just looks like a square box like that was cut into the the pitched roof, and it's flat on the top, but there is a small part of the sloped roof that is behind it, and they never ended up redoing that when they when we moved in. They redid the roof, or at least said that they redid the roof. It turns out that they also had never redone the flat roof, which they said that they did, and it turns out that they didn't, because very quickly after we moved in there was a leak, which we also had water damage upstairs from. And so long story short though, there was problems with the roof anyway, but there was one tiny little spot in there that was just kind of, you could tell that there was water damage. And so since we had the new roof, which we had put on a handful of years ago, we were planning on, you know, like we need to get that fixed. And since we were doing all of the other rooms and we've been able to like kind of move stuff out of one room and now into another room and everything like that, so like everything's out of that back room. And we've been switching bedrooms slowly, and again to the whole renovation project that we did upstairs over last summer. Anyways, so we had him do that part too, and just like a couple of other, like the cut in for a box that I think was like to an old cable thing or something like that that wasn't even there anymore. So we had him like patch that over just because we were like, well, since you're here doing that, might as well, right? So we had him do that work. Then when he came to do the floors, he never came to do the floors, and my dad has been waiting and waiting and waiting, and we've been looking around for somebody else. Turns out that my cousin, who works for a company, actually they do like all types of remodel projects and things like that. Some smaller work stuff, but a good portion of what they do is kind of like bigger stuff, like, you know, like full kitchen remodels and bathroom remodels and stuff like that. And we're like, our project's kind of small because he did everything in here pretty much, and the room's even painted. And so we were like, we have everything done in here except for the floors, you know, we need that done. So he ended up, my cousin and like his boss, who's also too kind of showing him the ropes, because my cousin, he's I think 2 years younger than Jack. So I think this is like his first year out of high school. So he has been, you know, like showing him how to do everything. And he's done some floors, but I'll get into the whole, our floors are very special type of floors situation that came up today. So again, he ended up coming, like I said, with his boss, who's kind of showing him how to do stuff, which is really cool. So I think that was what he said, who he said was there with him today. But anyways, so there, you know, I'm in here with the dogs today, because my room is the room that's not being occupied, and they don't need to get in here or anything like that. So I had all three of the dogs with me, trying to keep them quiet, you know, trying to also keep them out of their hair. I can't have them running out, you know, and bothering them, or running out the back door, because that's where the back door is, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Plus they're coming and going with equipment and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll stay in here with the dogs, and the dogs do not like to be locked up alone, so I kind of need to stay with them. Also to keep them from barking all day. So Jack was out in the living room, and he, you know, like greeted them and, you know, showed them, oh yeah, you know, back room and stuff like that. Even though they knew what they were doing, like we got a quote already, they came out and look at everything. So Jack though was out in the living room, and I hear them, you know, like they're sanding the floors and everything like that. It sounds like everything's going good. You know, you hear the big sander machine going. But then all of a sudden you don't hear it anymore. And I was like, okay. All of a sudden, like, it sounded like they were talking to Jack about something. Then Jack starts texting me, do you know where I find the fuse box? And I was like, oh, they must have blown a fuse. Well, the thing is that I have never reset our fuse box. Like, Jack was like, I don't even think he said, they said they blew a fuse. He's like, they're asking about the fuse box. And I was like, I figured they blew a fuse, right? Because I don't hear the machines going anymore or anything like that. So I go in and, you know, eventually Jack's like, could you come out here and help me? Like, I don't even know for sure if this is the fuse box. He's in the laundry room in the right place. And I was like, okay, you got that. Then he's like, you know, I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. Do I just need to show them, like, you know, the fuse? Like, do they know what to do? And I was like, no, they probably don't, because, really old houses like ours are ones that still have fuse boxes. Most newer houses have, you know, like circuit breakers and stuff like that. So I have no clue how to change a fuse. I've never done it. If we've ever blown a fuse, my dad or my mom resets them, you know, or takes them out and puts in new ones and stuff like that. Now, I know how to do it. I've seen them do it. I have no clue how to do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be horrible. Like, if they blow a fuse, I'm like, I am praying that the one that they blew is one of the ones that we have fuses with buttons, so the button will pop if the fuse gets blown. So it's kind of like a circuit breaker. You don't have to like take out the fuse and replace it with a new one like it popped. You just have to hit the button and reset it. Thankfully it was one of those ones. I think all of the main ones that we blow often are the ones that my dad put with the buttons, and normally my mom doesn't even know which one is for which room, even though there's a little diagram in there that says which ones. She just hits all the buttons and resets everything. So it's like, if your room was fine and your room was not one that blew a fuse, my mom will reset it for you, just because she doesn't know which one's which. So then you got to reset your alarm clocks and everything. So the one that they blew was the back room, and I think the bathroom, and all of the overhead lights in the entire downstairs. I don't know. The wiring in this house is weird. Just like I said, the floors are weird in this house. But not weird, but like I said, we had an issue with that. But the wiring is all wired up weird. Like, you know, there's 2 rooms and the overhead lighting. So, and I didn't have the light on, so I didn't even know that they like blew the fuse or anything. But, so I can't see anything though in the laundry room, so I had to have Jack come in there with his flashlight and everything. So we got it reset. But then I was like, well, if you guys blew a fuse once and nothing was going, like, I mean, I didn't have my lights on. I don't know even if any of the other lights in the house were really on, and like nothing's on in the bathroom. Like, there were no lights on in the bathroom. There's nobody using the blow dryer, like nothing that's like drawing a lot to like make a fuse pop, you know, kind of thing. So I was like, if you guys blew the fuse, you might want to plug it into the kitchen, because that won't blow a fuse, because we have one outlet. First off, we don't know what this outlet is connected to or what the fuse is, but it is the only thing that is like has to be on that fuse. It might be for the crawl space and the crawl space light in just that one outlet that's in our kitchen, but that one has never blown because it only has the microwave and the coffee maker on it. So I was like, this one is good to go. Don't worry, you won't blow a fuse. But if you guys blew the fuse, you might want to, like, we might want to plug it in here. Know that that one won't, you know, like, we won't blow a fuse if that's the one we're using. So I go outside, get an extension cord for them to be able to run it from the kitchen into the you know, into the back bedroom. So that's fine. Everything's, you know, going along fine. Again, for the most part, we got everything settled. The fuses, you know, situation didn't blow another fuse or anything. Everything was fine. Then, like, partially into it, all of a sudden Jack comes in my room and he's like, they left to go and get some adhesive remover, I think, or something like that. And I was like, great, because I think I've told you guys that that back room, It's the same flooring as all of the other 3 bedrooms downstairs. However, my mom decided she wanted to paint the floors like shortly after we moved in. There was carpet in there, then it was kind of like the floors didn't look that great, so my mom was like, let's paint the floors because the dogs run through there. It's the room with the back, you know, the back door. The dogs run through there. She's like, let's just paint it so you don't really notice when the dogs are, you know, feet are dirty, and you don't notice, you know, like all of the scratch marks and stuff like that. Well, it's paint. It's gonna get scratched again. And it did, and it got really, really, really ugly. Not super fast, but like it didn't last that long. And we've lived in the house for 20 years, and like I said, my mom probably painted it year 1 or 2 after we moved in. So then though, a handful of years ago, my mom got the smart idea that she wanted to put down carpet squares with adhesive. And so the adhesive is what they're having trouble getting up. So they put the adhesive, they go run out to the store. Me and Jack then take the dogs out because we can't take them through the back room because they had all the equipment and stuff like that, and it was like dusty and, you know, everything. So we ended up taking the dogs out, you know, while they were gone, took them in the backyard through the leash through the front door, and out to the backyard. So then they get back, they ended up, you know, putting this adhesive remover stuff down, which is kind of, I think, like paint stripper type thing as well. But they put it down. They like then ended up waiting, like they were in, I don't know, their car or something like that for like a while. Then they came back inside, scraped it up, realized it's still not really coming up that much. And so then they are like, well, no, I think they put it down the first time and they said that it was coming up, but like the same thing too, we tried a little bit of like paint stripper because that's what we wanted to use on the stairs as well. It was like a different kind of, I think it's like citrus something, but it's supposed to be very much more natural kind of thing. The stuff they use, it smells like chemical type stuff. Like it's very strong. Thankfully though, the back door or the back window is open and like the door is closed, so you can't really notice it. It's not that bad in the rest of the house, but like if you have the other door open, you can smell it like to the back room. But so we had tried using that stuff before and it worked well. So but the thing is, you have to leave it on for like 24 hours or so, maybe 12 hours. So yeah, they ended up then, they came inside, they scraped it the first time and then put more down. So, and they said that like it was coming up, but again too, they have to put it down a second time. So, and like I said, I know that with like the paint stripper type stuff and, you know, whatever it is, the adhesive remover, I'm sure it's like the same thing. You have to leave it on for so long so it can kind of get the, you know, the adhesive up. Like, you know, again, paint stripper, you have to sometimes leave it on there for a while. So again, we ended up then, they ended up like putting it on, then they ended up leaving and they're like, we'll be back tomorrow. Originally they were like, oh, it should just be like 1 day, because again too, normal floors, like my floors in my room would take 1 day, easy, a couple hours probably, you know, to sand them and to stain them, and you know, we're gonna do a clear coat I think on them. So anyways, we ended up where they had to leave and now they're coming back tomorrow again. And the problem we're having though is that right now, again too, that's the back door to take the dogs into the backyard. We've had to manually take the dogs out on a leash, each one individually, through the front yard, out around into the backyard so they can go to the bathroom. And some of them don't really like to do their business not in the backyard, so we have to take them in the backyard. It's not like we can just take them in the front yard. So they like the privacy of the backyard. So we've had fun experience with that, manually taking the dogs out, instead of just being able to open up the door and let them out. We have to like take them all around to go to the bathroom. So because there's like stuff on the floor in there. But the thing is that with this paint stripper, they can't come like sand the floors tomorrow. They have to remove it tomorrow, and then because the floors will still be kind of like soggy, like you know, like damp, they can't stain it right away after that or sand it, I don't think. So they're just coming tomorrow just to peel the like paint stripper stuff up, and then we have to let it actually dry after that. So it said that that can take up to like 5 days, including the humidity, which has been ridiculous. So we have to wait for that until probably next week. So I was like, oh, we'll have Jack moved into the room tomorrow, and then we'll get moving on, like, you know, taking care of the stuff in the next room and everything. That's not how it's gonna go. It's gonna take a lot longer. So yeah, our floors are very unique because they need so much extra treatment, but it's just that room. That is the problem room. And with everything that we've done to the floor in there, it's not surprising that we kind of are running into some type of issues, which is why, again, too, my dad was a little like, I'd rather have somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's what my cousin ended up telling my dad too. He was like, normally, again, too, like, you just sand the floors and everything's fine. He's like, I have to learn about how to like strip the paint off of here first and like everything like that. Like, he hasn't had to do that yet. So thankfully his boss is there to be able to like tell him and explain to him, you know, mentor him how to do that in case he runs into a I'm gonna use the pun here, sticky situation, quite literally. But we have the same type of thing on our stairs where we have really old paint that's on the stairs that has to be stripped up because it used to be carpeted. And so if we wanted to, we want to paint the stairs, but we're running into like the exact same problem where we have to use paint stripper to get the paint up off the floor. We can't just sand it the way it is. So you know, and it's kind of the same thing in there. The problem is that the floor is just sticky. So what they did was sanded the top layer, and then the adhesive was still like underneath, and that is like what's still like adhering to the hardwood floors that they have to, I guess, like take off. So anyways, we had a little bit more than surprises today that we weren't entirely expecting, but you know, that kind of stuff, I guess, happens. And again, too, we kind of knew that going in, and like my dad had mentioned that, like, again, too, they saw the floors and everything like that, knew like, oh yeah, it might be a one-day thing, but didn't realize how bad the adhesive really was on the floors. So I guess that's a public service announcement about using adhesive sticky floor tiles or carpet squares and that kind of stuff on your hardwood floors if you ever want to reclaim them. It's going to take a little bit of extra work. So anyways, but we're moving along, thankfully, after a lot of time of not being able to get the other stuff, you know, done because of, you know, previous contractors we were working with and stuff like that. But thankfully, again, too, that these guys are like really great, my cousin too, you know, and being able to get that stuff done and have the knowledge to be able to do it as well. And now, again, too, like I said, my cousin gets to learn a special way of taking care of troubled floors. So anyways, yeah, that was today. And my mom has not been here all day because she's working extra shifts because she picked up, like, there a bunch of people, I guess, are like on vacation and stuff like that this week, so she has extra shifts this week. So it's been me and Jack, like I said, that have had to kind of handle everything today too, but we figured everything out. Everything's working. It will be fine in the end. It's just, you know, a little bit of extra stuff going on. But anyways, I was up super early this morning though, because that's, my dad called me and was like, oh, they're on their way, but like they had to go stop off at like the hardware store and everything like that before it. So like I was still up like an hour or two before they actually got here. So I'm actually really tired right now. I want to take a shower and get to bed. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today, make sure you guys give it a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.